All right, Akim, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. And salutations to the sincere Akim and Aqua may listen. May the blessing of election be upon your house. My name is Brother Raquai. I'm back in here with another quick and Lord's will is always an edifying lesson. And for today, I just wanted to continue because I kind of had to cut the last part of this kind of short. There was a couple more points I wanted to touch on, and Lord's will is always, this lesson may be edifying, right? So the title of here I have here, it's on the screen. It says Abigail's Goodwill, right? So I was kind of going into some of the, I guess, pleasant traits of and characteristics of having a good woman, and to be honest, like I was saying in my last lesson, I'm not the type of brother to really do a lot of lessons in regards to women, but it's just something that was kind of on my mind and was inspired by a short conversation I had, right? So I chose this particular account because, this woman in the scriptures, she strongly exemplified a woman who had, humility, and she also had respect, right? And there's a couple other examples of that as well, but and it just shows a strong contrast from the women that are that Babylon the Great, America strongly poisons the minds of our women, right? And it's just essentially it's a strong contrast, right? As a matter of fact, I didn't have this precept up here, but let me just, as a matter of fact, let me get two precepts if you don't mind. Let's get Jeremiah. Okay, Jeremiah 6 verse 16, and it says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, stand ye in the ways and seek and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein," right? So, it's what we're doing is kind of turning back into the ways of our forefathers and looking the way they walked, the way they conducted themselves, right? And it is good, and there's also examples of fairly like righteous women as well throughout the scriptures as well, right? So we're looking back at the ways, the things that they did, right? And the examples and the ways that they conducted themselves, right? Because the scriptures talk about a man shall be known by his walk, right? So the next precept I also wanted to get as well, I believe it's 21. Okay, this is Proverbs 21 verse 9, and it says, "It is better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house." And I brought this out in specifically because when you go back to the account, with Abigail, she could have been, and I'll just go through a couple of those precepts, after this one. When you go through the account, with this particular individual, she could have been like, all up in, David's face, in David's men's faces, because, when you look at the culture, so-called black culture doesn't actually bring forth life. That's a reason why it's called black culture. It's void of understanding, it's void of reasoning, it's void of life, right? It doesn't actually promote life at all. It promotes death, and it's, when you look at, I remember years ago, the elder in South Carolina, he did a lesson in regards to rappers, and it's unbelievable how many rappers have all died in 2020 and 2021. I think it was over 200, right? And they're all little this and little that, right? Black culture doesn't promote the welfare and the well-being of our people. It doesn't promote righteousness. It doesn't promote virtue. It doesn't promote humility. It's a stronghold on our people, and the elites, they use this They use the device of the music because they know how influential our people are, and they know how musical our people are, and they use that to dim the vibration of our people, right? Especially, I'm talking in when the music I'm talking about the men and women, but for strictly this lesson is also talking about the women, because you have these different individuals who make certain songs that promote a certain kind of lifestyle that is contrary to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that is contrary to an ancient lifestyle, to how we used to behave, how we used to act, how we used to conduct ourselves, right? So I'll read this again. It says, "It is better to dwell in the corner of a house now with a brawling woman in a wide house," right? And one of the things that the scriptures talk about a silent. I believe, as a matter of fact, I believe it's in the Apocrypha, silent woman, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Sirach 26 verse 14, and it says, "A silent and loving woman is a gift from the Lord. There is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed." And that's beautiful too. And what's in her mind should be instructed is from the scriptures, from her righteous man, from a virtuous man, right? Not just any old toucan Sam, or that type of individual who actually is able to instruct her in wickedness, because that is the problem a lot with our women as well. A lot of them choose these particular, I don't even want to call them men. Essentially, they're niggas, right? For example, you have your Sean Diddy Combs, you have your your Jay-Z's, all these particular rappers that promote a certain kind of lifestyle, and they latch onto the lifestyle and thinking that the lifestyle is going to be something good and it's something uplifting, when they realize the things that these people have to do. For another one is Rihanna as well, right? And these women, when you really look at them from the starting of their career up until like this very moment, they never ever look the same as the day and the time they got signed. Like, if you just look up, for example, Rihanna, when she got signed, I think it was back in 05 or 06 when she came out, and look at her now. The same thing with another good example is Doja Cat. When she first came out, Cardi B, when she first came out, in comparison to now, they never ever look the same. And this is the filth that our people, they take on these philosophies and thinking that's going to actually enrich them, right? It actually makes you stupid, it makes you dull, it makes you dark, right? It doesn't actually promote righteousness or virtue, right? So I want to go back to the account just as a refresher. I just wanted to make those couple points. I'll get that later on. Oops, Salakia, just bear with me. Okay, let me just zoom back here. Just bear with me. Where she intercedes. Okay, so here it says 1 Samuel 25 verse 23. So it says here, Abigail intercedes for Nabal. It says, when Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed low before him. So keep in mind, this is before King David was actually named King David, because at this time King Saul was still reigning, essentially, right? He was still alive, right? He was still the first king. Verse 24, it says, she fell at his feet and said, "I accept all blame in this matter, my lord. Please listen to what I have to say. I know Nabal is a wicked and ill-tempered man." I'm reading the LT, by the way. It says, "Please don't pay any attention to him. He is a fool," just as the name suggests. "But I never even saw the young man you sent." It says, verse 26, "Now, my lord, as surely the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai lives, and you yourself live, since the Lord has kept you from murdering and taking vengeance into your own hands, let all your enemies and those who try to harm you be as cursed as Nabal is, right? So essentially, she's wishing him, well, hoping that he prospers over his enemies, right? So what was very, very important is the fact that she came in a sense of humility, and that is strongly a characteristic that a lot of our women do not exemplify. They don't exemplify, when you watch a lot of these podcasts, so to speak, one of the hard things you notice from a lot of these women, especially women in America and Canada and countries that follow after the wine and take on the philosophies of Babylon, is the fact that it is very hard for them to actually take accountability or actually realize, okay, I messed up, even if they were not completely in the wrong. They don't understand the importance of the Lord actually justifying them, right, and just accepting blame, right? So I just wanted to make those couple points here as well. I just wanted to get another snapshot as well, because in this society as well, when it comes to situations in regards to our women, our women don't have, in this side of the world, don't have a very strong connection and respect or look back towards their men, right? And that is a huge problem with our people. Most specifically, so-called black men and black women, right? I believe it's 3. Oh, Salakia. I just wanted to touch on this quick. Okay, this is 1 Samuel 1 verse 13, and it says, I'll read in the NLT, I'll read in the KJV first. It says, now Hannah, she spake with her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore, Eli thought she had been drunken, right? So this is going into the the birth of Hannah is essentially Samuel's mother, right? It says, now Eli said unto her, how long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee. Now Hannah answered and says, no, my lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but poured out my soul before the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So in the KJV, it says, in verse, I want to read verse 15. It says, oh no, sir, she replied, I haven't been drinking any wine or anything stronger, but I am very discouraged as I was pouring out my heart to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And the reason I want to read this as well is because the fact that she referred to Eli as, she had a certain level. There was a certain level of respect for men, when in the ancient times, towards the men of that, of this position, essentially, right? And our women don't have this sort of respect, just trickling down to the father in the household. A lot of our women don't have that sort of respect for their men because they don't have a strong connection and respect for their fathers, right? So, that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring this out, because it shows you the strong contrast between, some of the women back in the ancient times versus the women that are, in this time. It's, we've fallen, it's like it says in Jeremiah, we've discontinued from our heritage, right? And, part of that heritage is knowing how to conduct ourselves, amongst each other, as well as conducting ourselves, as a family, the husband and the wife, with children and so on and so forth. So I'll just get this last one, and I guess I'll just wrap it up here. But hopefully this all ties together and actually is making sense. Okay, this is Jeremiah 51 verse 7, and it says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, right? So, and the reason I wanted to bring this out, because part of that wine representing different philosophies, is the fact that a lot of these nations are upset with America because they push that feminist sexual revolution vibration upon the other nations, and therefore the nations are mad because what these other nations, I will just use examples like the nations in the so-called Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, that adhere to a more traditional cultural lifestyle, a more ancient lifestyle, right? With these nations, they are upset with America. One of the reasons being because of the influence, the negative influence, I should say, it has on their women, because they realize by placing the women, on a pedestal and above the man, it actually destroys kingdoms, right? And these people, they're strongly fighting against this. Countries like Russia are a lot more essentially conservative as opposed to nations in the West, right, that allow this so-called equality and this feminism and believing that men and women are on the same page, right? So anyways, hopefully this video and lesson was edifying. That's all I have for today. But I pray and hope that this sincerely was edifying, and just like to give our praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Hawashai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders who are millstone for teaching us his truth. Till next time, I say Shalom.